What's up guys, ArchAngel Manga here, and you are watching my top 10 favourite manga art styles. Now, I'm picking out artists from my manga collection who I feel have got a really great flair for telling a story through their art. These is just my personal favourite, so this list is subjective, so I'd like to hear your top 10 favourite artists. So state any artists that you feel were missing from this list. I've picked up 10 artists from 10 different series, very different sort of art styles, to kind of like vary it up. Let's get started. Coming in at number 10, we have Masayuki Taguchi, most famously the illustrator for Battle Royale. Now, what I love about his art style is how he makes the bad characters, like evil characters, look so ugly in order to represent their evil side. I'll probably put like an image on screen so you can kind of get an idea. But yeah, his art style is it's realistic, but at the same time retains that very stylized manga, typically manga style, with the large eyes and the the very sort of caricature hair and things like that. It's just so good. His art style is just so brilliant, and the way he choreographs action scenes and things like that is just next to just absolutely stunning. But yeah, Masayuki Taguchi. I believe he's also got a manga called Lives, but that isn't published in English, so I can't really comment on that. But Battle Royale so far is the only manga that I've read, where he's illustrated it, and it's just absolutely stunning. Coming in at number 9. Probably somebody who you're all familiar with is Tsutomu Nihei, author of Biomega and Blame, and more commonly recently Knights of Sidonia. Probably off of this list, he's got one of probably the most unique art styles. Most of the things he deals with genre-wise is like body horror, so he has a real sort of artistic flair for showing really gruesome, human disfigurations and things like that, like his monsters and humanoid zombie things and, stuff like that. Again, there'll be kind of like an image to kind of, represent what I'm talking about. But one thing that is very common in his manga that I've read so far is the fact that a lot of his stories have very muted dialogue, so he uses the imagery to kind of make the story flow forward, and that's something that's very I wouldn't say rare in manga, because it does happen in instances, but when you kind of make a career off of it, like Nihei has, you're really talented when it comes to your artwork, and that's why I love Nihei's artwork so much, because it's so dark and gritty, and at the same time so realistic. I just think it's absolutely brilliant. Okay. Moving along. Coming in at number 7, a classic horror mangaka, Junji Ito, author of Uzumaki and Gyo. One thing I love about Junji Ito's artwork is, again, he deals with things like body horror. So he's really good at drawing really sort of grotesque sort of human monster transformations and things like that, which you kind of see a lot in Uzumaki. But unlike with Tsutomu Nihei, Junji Ito's style is it's almost a little bit more realistic, because even though you see human transforming into monsters, they still sort of retain that sort of human expression, where you can almost feel you can almost see the feeling pain and things like that. And it just adds to the horror in his manga, that you can see the characters' emotions expressed through their facial expressions when they're feeling pain and things like that. I absolutely love Junji Ito's art style, and that's why it's my number 7. Coming in at number 6, I believe we're at number 6. Yes, we have Yoshiyuki Sadamoto, very famous mangaka, one of the founders of Gainax Anime Studio. The original concept designer and mangaka for Neon Genesis Evangelion. I like him less as a mangaka and more as actually a character designer, as he's done mostly character designs in most of his career, focusing on character designs for things like Furikuri, The Girl Who Lived Through Time, Summer Wars, and most recently Wolf Children. But he also does character designs for a whole other just lots of different media, you know, like video games and things like that. But yeah, he's just such a classic mangaka, and you know, one thing I would praise him for most is his mech designs. You know, he designed like the original mech designs for like EVA Unit 1, I think all the EVA units in Neon Genesis Evangelion, and for that, you know, such unique sort of mech designs, you know, I feel like just are absolutely stunning. You know, that they were almost like creatures in a way. They weren't even robots, they were like creatures that wore armour. You know, it's such a unique concept in like, you know, the mech genre, obviously, which, you know, ended up redefining it. So yeah, Yoshiyuki Sadamoto, for that reason, is, you know, my number 6. Coming in at number 5, another pioneering mech artist, Yoshikazu Yasuhiko, the author of Mobile Suit Gundam: The Origin. Again, I think most of the stuff he's done, you know, is for like character designs. I think he's also an animator as well for Sunrise, or at least he's worked with Sunrise. But yeah, the fact that this guy does everything himself, you know, works with like brushes and things like that, it gives his artwork a really sort of authentic feel, as opposed to a lot of, you know, manga that's out today that kind of looks very digital. You know, his artwork is, you know, it's almost like paintings. You know, it's so smooth and, you know, liquid almost. It's so unbelievably beautiful. And even though, you know, in terms of its technology and things like that, you know, like Mobile Suit Gundam, The Origin, still it feels like a really sort of like classic manga, even though it was like it's obviously a reimagining of you know, the classic, you know, 1970s anime series. You know, this was actually penned, you know, years and years and years after, but it still retains that sort of classic you know, feel where, you know, like it still it still looks like the future that, you know, people from the 70s envisioned, you know, for today, that kind of thing. But you know, the artwork just reflects that so well. You know, the space battles are just, you know, just perfect. You know, you probably wouldn't be able to go to you know, another mangaka, you know, to ask them to do a space battle that, you know, that would be better than Yoshikazu Yasuhiko's you know, space battles. So yeah, that's most of the reasons why he's at my number 5. Coming in at number 4, somebody who's probably recently on my list is Ryoichi Ikegami, author of Crying Freeman, Strain, Sanctuary. Most of the titles, you know, that were published in English are, you know, sadly out of print now. But his art style is so just absolutely brilliant. Most of the things that I like about him are like his, I think he paints in gouache, you know, for like his colour prints and things like that. And they're just so realistic. You know, you can probably see something on the screen right now that, you know, that's representing what I'm talking about. But Ryoichi Ikegami has got such a unique flair for depicting really subtle facial, you know, emotions, you know, things like that. And I just think he's absolutely brilliant, you know, for that reason. So yeah, he's at my number 4, I believe. Also, one thing interesting to note is that he was an assistant for Shigeru Mizuki, so he was highly involved in the Gekiga movement, and a lot of his artwork, a lot of his art can be considered Gekiga art. They also penned the Spider-Man manga as well, which would be interesting to read. Anyway, yeah, we're now in the top 5. That was 5. Coming to number 4, somebody extremely popular is Takeshi Obata. You know, how could I not include the author, the artist and illustrator behind Death Note, Bakuman, you know, Hikaru no Go in this list, as well as loads of others like Ralgrad and soon to be read by me, Omni This Kill. Takeshi Obata's art style is just so unique for the fact that a lot of the stuff he does is shonen, but you know, his art style is so realistic, and even more so realistic than you know, a lot of seinen manga that I've read. He's got such a seinen looking art style. And, you know, like his art style really sort of reflects like a lot of the dark tones that, you know, you read in like, you know, series like Death Note. You know, because it's so realistic, it's so grounded in reality. You know, there's no sort of like you know, hyper deformed characters, you know, unless you want to count, you know, characters like Ryoko, but you know, he's not human anyway. But in terms of the humans, you know, there's not really any sort of hyper deformed characters like, you know, you commonly see in like manga and things like that. With, you know, the large eyes, you know, the super spiky hair, you know, the sort of, you know, over accentuated, you know, like body parts and things like that. You know, his art style is just so realistic, but the most realistic art style for shonen manga that I've read to date, and you know, that's why he's my number 4. Probably maybe some of you are surprised that he's, you know, not that close to the top, but you know, what can I say? You know, he's just my personal number 4. So yeah, now we're in the top 3. You know, this was really difficult because you know, there's so many great sort of artists in manga, and you know, obviously I had to whittle it down. You know, probably some of these, you know, of my personal bias because I love the stories as well. So you know, that probably you know, influences, you know, why I like the artwork. But anywho, coming in number 3, we have Kaoru Mori, author of Bride Story. A lot of the work she does focuses on like maids and things like that. You know, in Britain, like with Emma and Shirley and probably a few other things. But the Bride Story is the only manga by hers I've read so far. And I absolutely love her art style. You know, her art style complements things like, you know, slice of life so well, because she, you know, she'll have like chapters dedicated to, you know, nothing but wood crafting or baking bread or, you know, making pottery or things like that, or embroidery. You know, that's one thing that I love about her artwork, is that she's so brilliant at drawing clothes, and the way the clothes, you know, drape on the characters' bodies feels so natural. But at the same time, it still retains that very, you know, stylistic manga look with, you know, the large eyes, you know, the sort of facial expressions and things like that. But you know, that isn't something to say that, you know, it makes it worse. I think it actually makes it a lot better. You know, because she clearly researches, you know, the characters that, you know, she likes to depict, because a lot of her manga is, you know, set in like history, different parts of history. And you know, there's such extensive work that goes into you know, her need to research, you know, to get the kind of characters' outfits right. Probably one of the greatest mangaka that I've read. That you know, greatest mangaka whose art you know, depicts clothes in such detail. You know, Kaoru Mori is just absolutely brilliant, and I absolutely love her work. Okay, so now we're in our top 2. Now, this was almost a tie, because these, you know, 2 mangaka that are in my top 2 have art styles that just are inhumanly good, and you would have to, you know, for any normal person to achieve the level of art craftsmanship that these 2 mangaka have reached, it would take decades and decades and decades of training. But these 2 mangaka are just so naturally gifted. And you know, I'm so thankful that, you know, I've been able to read their material. So coming in at number 2, an absolute classic. Everyone should know who this person is, and that is Katsuhiro Otomo, author of Kira and Domu, A Child's Dream. Oh my gosh, Katsuhiro Otomo, he's just so talented. I absolutely love his art style. One of the greatest seinen manga that I've ever read, and probably one of the greatest seinen manga writers you will ever come across. His artwork is just, it's very similar to that of what's his name, Shiro Masamune, the author of Ghost in the Shell. But with Akira, you know, I think the art style is much more refined, and you know, the character models are always on point. And you know, the way he does backgrounds and, you know, just cityscapes and things like that, are just near perfect. The only thing I would kind of criticise it for is like some of the panels can seem very overcrowded, you know, without any sort of central focus. You know, anytime there's like a main character in a panel but there's like loads of other things around it, it's difficult to focus on, you know, what's actually happening. But his artwork is just, it's just perfect. I cannot think of any more adjectives to describe how brilliant his artwork is. You know, the images that I'm putting up on screen now just should speak for themselves. Akira, Katsuhiro Otomo. I think Katsuhiro Otomo is mostly famous for just being an actual artist, as he hasn't actually written or penned out that many manga. But you know, over the years, you know, he's contributed greatly to, you know, the manga and anime industry. You know, designing characters and, you know, just doing, you know, other sort of promotional work. But as a mangaka, he's you know, he's not very frequent. But you know, for the fact that he penned out such an amazing manga that basically just broke the West, and you know, allowed, you know, just millions and millions and millions of people to, you know, experience for the first time, you know, what Japan had to offer in terms of graphic novel, or you know, graphic fiction in general. As Akira and Katsuhiro Otomo are not only regarded as great mangaka, but just great, you know, graphic fiction. You know, Akira's just lauded as one of the greatest, you know, graphic novels of all time, let alone, you know, greatest manga. And Katsuhiro Otomo's lauded as, you know, one of the greatest, you know, authors of graphic fiction. And you know, I think it's well deserved. And you know, his artwork, you know, more than accents that. And that's why I feel he should be at my number 2. But number 1 now is just miles ahead of anything that I've ever seen, you know, artistically. And I think you can all anticipate who I'm going to be talking about, because it would be a crime not to put this mangaka in my top 10 list. And that, of course, is Takehiko Inoue. Inoue, oh my gosh. Inoue-san, your artwork is just perfect. There is nothing I can point out about Takehiko Inoue's artwork that I feel, you know, it is, you know, open to scrutiny or criticism, because his artwork is just perfection. The backgrounds, the character models, the line work, just the penmanship. His art really is a craft. You know, you could say that about any artist, you know, who's in this list, you know, but Takehiko Inoue has got it down to such to such a T that, you know, it's almost like it's just it's almost like it's like he isn't a person. It's like he's just, you know, a god. He is truly a manga god. His artwork is just stunning, and you know, the images that I'm putting up on screen now obviously speak for themselves. But I love his artwork because, you know, it, like I've said a lot of the time with, you know, these manga styles, it still retains the element, you know, for the fact that it's manga. It still has the stylistic elements of manga, but at the same time retains the element of realism. But this art style is leaps and bounds above the rest. You know, a lot of his, you know, colour sort of prints are almost photographic in quality, and you know, out of all the art styles that I've mentioned, Takehiko Inoue's art is probably one of the art styles that I would most like to see, like on a massive, you know, mural on like the side of a building or something, because you know, his artwork just deserves that treatment. His artwork is just stunning. It's perfect in every sense of the word. You know, the way he shades, just the way he draws hair, you know, the techniques he uses in order to pen out his characters, you know, like brushes and different pens and things like that. You know, he truly is a craftsman at its best, and you know, that's why Takehiko Inoue will remain, you know, is my number 1, and probably will remain my number 1 for many years, unless, you know, he, like, you know, trains some protege to become better than him or something like that, which I highly doubt. But yeah, Takehiko Inoue, and you know, he's the author of, you know, many great series, you know, Vagabond, Slam Dunk, you know, to name but a few, you know, Real. But yeah, that was my top 10 favourite manga art styles. Now, if you've liked any of the manga that I've mentioned in this video, just to let you guys know that I am now a Book Depository affiliate, so you know, there'll be a link in the description below, which will link you directly to the Book Depository website. I get commission back off, you know, any sales that I made, and you know, Book Depository is a great website. You know, you get cheap manga, free worldwide delivering, they ship internationally, so you know, anybody can order from them, and that's why, you know, they're super reliable. I've used them as well. But yeah, tell me what you guys think. You know, what are your top 10 favourite manga art styles? You know, I would love to know. You know, any sort of mangaka that I haven't heard of, you know, is always welcome to me. So yeah, that has been my top 10 favourite manga art styles. I'll catch you guys in a bit soon.